And I walked into the house and said, oh, I just got fired. And my wife looked at me and started crying. And I said, that's okay, we're gonna start a company.
30 years ago, as Houston entered the last decade of the millennium, 7 intrepid men and their families bravely launched an enterprise that none could have predicted its challenges, and it changed their lives forever.
Well, it was an oh shit moment at my house.
How long can we all go without a paycheck?
And so we were getting a little punchy and a little fuzzy and maybe a little bit overserved, perhaps.
They'll never be able to do that crap.
Is he still alive? Does anybody know?
You know, oh, you're a weirdo.
And somebody, might have been me, took a deer head and peered it around the corner into his office. Did you cry? Did you cry, Arch?
Hiring process was, I guess it was pretty loose.
The original plan was just survive.
I was the bail bondsman for your people.
I thought I was going to lose, John. It was in July. It was hot. We were in the woods.
I would definitely do it again. Certainly been the high point of my professional life.
It was like riding a horse, man, riding a wild horse.
Thanks, that was a lot of fun.
Hear their stories as the founders answer questions and reminisce on early challenges and key decisions. All the turning points and pivots that built Costello Inc. into one of Houston's most admired companies and best places to work.
Okay, what was your initial business plan? And did you envision a full service firm or just focus on certain disciplines?
Jokingly, the original plan was just survive. Hopefully we can make this thing work. And like Steve said earlier, if we didn't make it, we could all go find jobs elsewhere. When Steve approached me in the elevator on our way to a meeting one day and said, meet us for a beer out at some bar out there on Derry Ashford. And I'm like, are you leaving? He goes, you shut up and just meet us at the bar. What he told me was, when we do this, we're gonna have the people that can provide the services that we need, which was drainage, the land development, and surveying, which were the 3 primary things that we did at VMK that our clients needed and wanted. So that was the plan, was to be able to provide that, which is why there were 7 of us, and not what most people did was 1 or 2 or 3 people leave and struggle for a while. We were able to jump right in and produce.
That was the whole intent of bringing all 7 of us together, was to make sure that we can produce right away. Blake was my conscience. I always said that. Blake was my conscience, because he was, do the work, do the work, do the work. And I would say, let's grow, let's grow, let's grow. And he'd say, no, I don't want to do that. And so we'd have to negotiate. And his feeling was the perfect size was 20. My feeling was bigger than that. When we got to 50, we should stay at 50. I said, no, let's, we'll grow just grow organically. And look at the size of the firm now. People ask me all the time, well, is the firm still there? I said, yeah, it's still there. And I tell them, I said, the firm's twice the size of what it was when I left. I said, that's a good indication of the legacy of the 7 of us, that the second generation is actually moving the firm even better. So you find that most firms don't have that ability because the original owners just don't invest in their people. I went to Blake one day and said, we need to do transportation work. And so we went out and got a couple of people for transportation. And then I went to Blake and said, well, we need to do structural work. And we went out and got structural people. So it just kind of morphed into what we thought we needed. And most of the time, what I was looking at was, our core business has always been land development. But there are certain things that your projects needed, which was transportation, structural, dealing with other agencies, and that's how we got into the other disciplines, really. But the core was 25% was surveying, and the rest of it was all land development work. I don't think we really had a formal plan, other than making sure we all got a check.
Yeah. Who did plants?
I agree with that. I remember.
The first plants I did.
Oh, sorry.
And then we hired Potts.
Well, from the very get-go, all of us drafted.
Oh, yeah.
We were still drafting on the very first projects, and we all had the pen and the Mylars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Takesha, when we first started, one of the first projects we got was a construction staking job for Durwood Green Construction, and I was the crew chief, and I had some of these talented individuals helping me in the field.
What? You had all of them go out except for me, because I had a project in the office that I couldn't.
Ralph was out there. He spent some time.
I remember the first thing I did on the job. You said, "Go dig up this rod." The first thing I did was break the shovel.
Yeah. And that job was a mess. It was wet, muddy.
God, it mud this deep.
Had John out there. I thought I was going to lose John. It was in July. It was hot. We were in the woods, but they'd cleared the right of way. Anyway, and then Kevin came out one day and he worked for about a half a day, and then for some reason he had to go back to the office for a mud meeting or something.
Oh, how can
some meeting.
You did better than I did. I went out there for an hour, and he commented to me, Steve, you don't come out here in dress shoes and dress pants in the mud.
We were leaving the job site, walking out, and there was a street out there, and we parked on the street. And we were walking out, and it was about 7 o'clock at night or something, if I remember right. And Ricky Green and our client, the owner of the property, pulled up. And they'd been to the bar. And Ricky was a little bit lit, and he says, Archie said, are you guys doing all right? Oh, yeah, I'm doing fine. He says, you guys been paid yet? And he handed me that $1 that was on our wall for years. That was our
still
first
there.
dollar.
It's still there.
Is it really?
It's still there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, really?
Still there.
Oh, wow.